General Hospital spoilers for the week of August 11th to 15th reveal that Lulu and Dante find themselves in the midst of a volatile power struggle. One that has far-reaching consequences not only for their relationship but for the future of their son, Rocco. The tension between them has been building for some time. But it has reached new heights as they each cling to their own vision of what is best for their child. What started as an ordinary disagreement about parenting has now evolved into a full-blown emotional and ideological battle that threatens to tear their family apart. At the heart of this growing conflict is the issue of control, specifically over Rocco's life and the role that Liesl now plays in it. Lulu, fiercely protective and determined to shield Rocco from what she perceives as a dangerous influence, finds herself at odds with Dante, who, despite his growing concerns, continues to defend Liesl's involvement. To Lulu, Liesl's presence is not just an unwelcome intrusion, it's a manipulation, a quiet but persistent attempt to supplant her as Rocco's primary caregiver. What's more, Liesl's influence is becoming increasingly obvious, and Lulu can't ignore the impact it's having on their son. Rocco, once full of life and curiosity, has begun to change in ways that make Lulu uneasy. He seems withdrawn, more distant, and his growing attachment to Liesl has become a source of deep anxiety for her. Every moment Rocco spends with Liesl is a moment Lulu fears she is losing him, and the more she tries to intervene, the more Rocco resists. This isn't just about protecting her son, it's about protecting herself, her sense of identity, and her ability to be the mother she believes Rocco needs. For Dante, this situation is far more complex. He loves Lulu, but he also sees the value in what Liesl can offer Rocco. He's conflicted, torn between his loyalty to his wife and his belief that Rocco's needs might be better served with Liesl's guidance. Dante has never been one to shy away from difficult decisions, but this time, he finds himself caught in a web of emotions and loyalties that are not so easily untangled. His relationship with Lulu has always been built on mutual respect. But now that respect is being tested by their conflicting beliefs about what is best for Rocco, Dante wants to believe that by allowing Liesl into their lives, he is simply offering their son a broader, more supportive family network. He believes that Liesl can provide the stability and wisdom that Rocco needs, especially given the turbulence in their lives. But with each passing day, Dante is beginning to realize that what he sees as an opportunity for Rocco to have more family around him is, in fact, a slow erosion of the unity and bond he shares with Lulu. He's also beginning to question the true motivations behind Liesl's actions. What started as a well-intentioned gesture to help Rocco navigate his own emotional turmoil has, over time, become something more manipulative. Liesl, for all her good intentions, is not a passive figure in this drama. Her presence in Rocco's life is becoming increasingly dominant. And it's clear that she isn't simply a grandmother offering affection, she is a woman who has her own agenda, her own desires for control, and her own emotional needs. This is where the real conflict lies for Dante. He knows that Lulu is right in many respects, Liesl's actions are not as innocent as they appear. But he also struggles with the notion that he should take a hard stance against his mother's influence on Rocco. He wants to believe that he can control the situation, that he can protect Rocco without sacrificing his relationship with his mother or Lulu. But that belief is becoming more tenuous with every passing day. Dante, though a man of principle, is caught in the emotional turbulence of wanting to fix everything, wanting to make everyone happy, but realizing more and more that some things are simply beyond his control. The conflict between Lulu and Dante is more than just about Rocco, it's a battle for the future of their relationship, the future of their family. The longer they remain at odds, the more the cracks in their bond widen, and the more the rest of their lives feel like they're slipping out of their hands. It's becoming increasingly clear that this isn't just about differences in parenting, it's about fundamentally different worldviews. Lulu is fiercely independent, and her sense of identity has always been rooted in her ability to protect those she loves. For her, the idea that anyone, especially Liesl, could have more influence over Rocco than she does feels like a personal betrayal. It's a feeling she can't ignore, no matter how much she tries to be diplomatic. For Dante, the idea of expanding their family's influence is one that feels natural to him. He doesn't see the harm in allowing Rocco to develop a relationship with Liesel, and he believes that by doing so, he is only providing more stability for his son. The problem is that these beliefs, though different, are equally rigid, and neither of them is willing to budge. The more Lulu tries to protect Rocco, the more she alienates Dante, and the more Dante defends his position, the more Lulu feels like she's losing her grip on the situation. The battle for Rocco's future is becoming increasingly emotional, and the consequences are beginning to feel more dire. Liesel's involvement in their lives isn't just about Rocco anymore, it's about control, power, and influence. The deeper she gets into their world, the harder it becomes to stop her. Lulu feels that she's running out of time, and every conversation with Dante is becoming a fight for her own place in Rocco's life. She doesn't want to alienate him, but she fears that if she doesn't act soon, she will lose everything she's worked for. Meanwhile, Dante is starting to realize that his idealistic belief that he can please everyone is slipping away. The deeper he gets into his defense of Liesel, the further he gets from his wife, and the more he begins to see that their relationship is suffering as a result. He's beginning to question whether his desire to create a peaceful family dynamic is worth the emotional toll it's taking on him and Lulu. This emotional roller coaster is not just about Rocco. It's about the foundation of trust and communication that has always been the core of their relationship. As the tension between Lulu and Dante continues to rise, it's clear that something has to give. But the question remains, will they find common ground before they lose everything? Or will the obsession with control over Rocco's future tear their family apart? The adjustments they are making in their lives are no longer just about parenting. They are about power, identity, and love. The future of their family rests on their ability to navigate this struggle, but with each passing day, it's becoming harder and harder to see how they will reconcile their differences. Drew is experiencing a new level of tension, and it's centered around Willow. What started as a pursuit of answers has now evolved into something far more intense and unsettling. The adjustments that were meant to restore balance in his life have instead triggered a shift in his mindset, one that is pushing him into darker, more dangerous territory. The change isn't just about his feelings for Willow, it's about a deeper, more obsessive drive that's emerging within him, an urge to control and manipulate. To bend the situation to his will in a way he can no longer ignore. Drew's initial motivations were rooted in the desire to make things right, to fix the broken pieces of his past and reconnect with those he cares about. But that's no longer the goal. His focus has shifted, and his fixation on Willow is becoming all-consuming. This new obsession is transforming him, clouding his judgment and distorting his perception of what's really important. His actions are no longer driven by a desire for healing or reconciliation, they're being fueled by something darker, more selfish. Drew no longer wants to simply understand Willow, he wants to possess the truth, control the narrative, and reclaim a part of himself that he feels he's lost. As the tension rises, Drew's actions are becoming more erratic, more unpredictable. What began as an innocent search for information has now spiraled into a dangerous game of manipulation and control. Drew's frustration grows as his attempts to get closer to Willow are met with resistance, pushing him further down a path of obsession. He is no longer simply trying to restore a relationship, he's trying to assert his dominance over the situation, to reassert control over something that is slipping away from him. And that obsession is causing him to lose sight of everything else, including the people who care about him. The danger is escalating. Drew's actions are starting to have consequences. Not just for Willow but for everyone around him. His behavior is no longer just a reaction to his past, it's a self-destructive force that is beginning to tear apart the relationships he holds dear. Every move he makes to get closer to Willow only drives her further away, and the more he pushes, the more he risks losing everything he once held dear. His obsession with Willow is no longer just a fleeting desire, it has become a driving force, one that is consuming him from the inside out. This shift in Drew's character is not just a personal crisis, it's a warning. The obsession is no longer a passive feeling. It's a raging force. One that is slowly pushing him towards a point of no return. The tension between Drew and Willow is just the beginning of a larger, more dangerous story. Drew's need for control is growing. And it's becoming clear that he will stop at nothing to reclaim what he believes is his. What started as a search for answers is now spiraling into a chaotic, unpredictable obsession that will have lasting consequences for everyone involved. What was once a man struggling to find his way is now a man lost in the grip of something much darker, much more dangerous. And as the chaos unfolds, it's clear that things are only going to get worse. Drew's obsession is no longer just an emotional struggle, it's becoming a driving force that will threaten to consume everything in its path. Jason and Britt's long-awaited confrontation has finally arrived. And what initially seemed like a moment of inevitable reckoning has quickly spiraled into something far darker and more complex than either of them anticipated. The tension between them has been simmering for so long that when they finally face each other, it's not just a meeting, it's an explosion of buried feelings, unresolved history, and a shared web of contradictions. The moment is charged with the weight of everything they've been through, and every word exchanged only deepens the emotional divide between them. Neither Jason nor Britt is prepared for the full force of this encounter, but as it unfolds, it's clear that both of them are on the precipice of something far more intense than a simple discussion of the past. For Jason, this confrontation is not just about confronting Britt, it's about facing his own ghosts. His life has been built on controlling the chaos around him. But the meeting with Britt forces him to acknowledge that there are some things beyond his control. Britt has always been a complicated part of his past, a source of unresolved emotions and unspoken truths, and now, standing in front of her, Jason is forced to reckon with the parts of himself he spent years trying to bury. The situation is growing more complicated as every moment passes. What Jason expected to be a straightforward conversation about the mess of their shared history has become a battle of wills. A struggle to regain control over a situation that has completely slipped out of his hands. For Britt, the encounter with Jason isn't just a clash of personalities, it's a confrontation with everything she's tried to suppress and escape. She's spent so much time running from her past, trying to move forward and build a new life, but the moment Jason enters the picture, everything she's tried to leave behind comes rushing back. The tension between them is palpable. Every glance and every exchange feels like a magnet pulling them closer to the unresolved history they share. Britt is caught in a whirlwind of emotions, frustration, betrayal, resentment, and a deep, burning desire to prove she can stand on her own without relying on anyone. Jason's presence, his voice, his intensity, all serve to bring her back into a world she thought she had escaped. And she realizes just how much she's been holding onto without even knowing it. The obsession that is building between Jason and Britt is no longer just about their past, it's about control, power, and the growing inability to let go. As they face each other, the stakes rise higher and higher. Britt can no longer hide her frustration and bitterness toward Jason. And Jason can no longer pretend that his past with her hasn't shaped his present. Every word exchanged is a reminder of the tangled web they're trapped in. And the deeper they go into their confrontation, the clearer it becomes that the truth they've both been avoiding is now impossible to escape. The situation has become one of mutual obsession, each one determined to gain control over the other, to assert their dominance in a relationship that's always been defined by power plays and emotional manipulation. What makes this moment so explosive is the realization that the situation is slipping beyond both of their control. The more they try to exert their will, the more the chaos builds around them. The tension is no longer just between them, it's about the wider consequences of their actions. The world they're both a part of is no longer as predictable as it once was. Their confrontation is not just about righting wrongs or seeking redemption, it's about navigating a complex, shifting landscape of power, manipulation, and danger. As they push each other to their limits, they are forced to confront not only each other but the chaos that surrounds them, chaos that neither of them fully understands, and that neither is prepared to face. The madness that is beginning to unfold between Jason and Britt is about more than just their personal history. It's a symbol of the broader turmoil they're both caught in. The more they engage with each other, the more their own obsessions take center stage. Jason is no longer the calm, controlled figure he once was. Britt is no longer the distant, emotionally detached woman who could shut down any situation. They are both becoming victims of their own desires. Their own unresolved feelings, and the consequences of their actions are mounting with every passing moment. As they collide, they are not just confronting each other, they are confronting everything they've ever been, everything they've tried to escape, and everything they are becoming. And yet, even as the tension between them builds, there is an undeniable connection that continues to draw them together. Despite all the anger, resentment, and fear, there is something more, something deeper, at the heart of their relationship. Whether they acknowledge it or not, their bond has always been one of attraction, of emotional intensity, and of a shared history that has defined both of them in ways they can't shake. It's this connection that makes their confrontation so explosive, because beneath the animosity, there is a truth they can't deny: they are forever linked, trapped in a cycle of obsession that neither of them can fully escape. As the situation continues to spiral, it becomes clear that nothing will ever be the same between them. The game has changed, and so have they. What started as a simple confrontation about the past has now become a battle for dominance, control, and survival in a world that is increasingly chaotic and unpredictable. Jason and Britt are no longer just individuals, they are forces of nature colliding, each one pushing the other further into madness. Their confrontation is the catalyst for something much larger, something far more dangerous. And the consequences of their actions will echo far beyond their immediate clash. In the end, their meeting is not just about resolving the past. It's about the unstoppable forces they've unleashed in each other, and the chaos that will inevitably follow. Jason and Britt are no longer in control. They are now participants in a larger, more unpredictable story, one where obsession, power, and madness will drive them to places they never expected. The encounter is just the beginning, and everything they thought they knew is about to be torn apart. Anna, armed with the new information about Dalmatia that she received from Brennan, is now standing on the precipice of a terrifying discovery, one that is unraveling everything she thought she knew. The details she uncovers about the experiments being conducted by Dalton are not just disturbing, they are outright horrifying, pushing Anna into a dark and dangerous corner. As she pieces together the evidence, it becomes clear that Dalton's work is far more sinister than anyone could have anticipated. What began as a mere investigation into his activities has now turned into a desperate race to stop something catastrophic. Something that threatens not only the people she cares about but the very fabric of everything she's worked for. The experiments Dalton is running aren't just unethical, they are a ticking time bomb. And Anna knows that with every passing day, the risk of them spiraling out of control grows greater. The more she learns, the more she realizes that this is no longer just about uncovering the truth, it's about preventing a nightmare that could destroy lives and institutions. The obsession that Dalton has developed with his own twisted research is spreading, like a virus, and it's infecting everyone in its path. Anna is now forced to confront the terrifying reality that she might be the only one who can stop it, but doing so means navigating a labyrinth of danger, deception, and unrelenting threats. This new obsession is not just a theoretical danger, it is a real and present threat, and Anna is feeling it close in on her. Every lead she follows, every step she takes toward uncovering the full scope of Dalton's actions, pulls her further into a web of peril that she can't easily escape. The more she digs, the more the danger intensifies. And it becomes clear that this isn't just about exposing the truth, it's about surviving long enough to stop it from spreading any further. Her past, the skills she's honed as an investigator, and the people she trusts are all being put to the test, and every choice she makes seems to come with a price. The weight of this new obsession is becoming unbearable. It's no longer just a professional pursuit, it's personal. Anna knows that if she doesn't act swiftly, if she doesn't confront Dalton and his mad experiments head-on, the consequences could be disastrous. But every move she makes seems to bring her closer to danger, and the more she pushes forward, the more the line between friend and foe blurs. In the midst of all this, the emotional toll is growing, as Anna is confronted not only with the looming threat of Dalton's work but with the realization that she is completely alone in this fight. The isolation she feels is suffocating, and the sense of urgency is overwhelming. As the situation spirals further out of control, Anna's obsession with stopping Dalton's dangerous experiments becomes the driving force behind everything she does. But with each passing day, the stakes grow higher. And the reality of the risks involved is impossible to ignore. She knows she's standing on the edge of something far bigger and more dangerous than she ever expected. And the consequences of failure are too great to contemplate. The danger is no longer theoretical, it's imminent, and Anna's every move now has the potential to change everything. The truth she's uncovering is more than she bargained for, and the toll it takes on her is more than just physical, it's psychological, emotional, and all-consuming. The more she fights to stop Dalton, the more the obsession consumes her, and the line between her sense of duty and her personal survival begins to blur. This is no longer just a battle for truth, it's a fight for her life. And for the lives of everyone around her. The new obsession is one that she cannot escape, and the danger it represents is closing in with terrifying speed.